Welcome back, everyone, to the channel. Today, we're diving deep into a concept that might sting a little, one we've all likely experienced: the frustration of chasing someone, only to see them pull further away. It's a common, almost universally shared experience. You invest your time, your energy, your attention, hoping they'll recognize your value, appreciate your efforts, but more often than not, the opposite happens. They distance themselves, and you're left wondering, where did I go wrong? The truth, as uncomfortable as it may be, is that chasing rarely yields the desired results. In fact, it can often be detrimental. This isn't about playing games or manipulation. It's about understanding fundamental principles of attraction, self-worth, and healthy relationships. It's about shifting your perspective so you attract rather than pursue. And we're going to use a timeless philosophy, Stoicism, to understand and ultimately master this subtle but powerful shift. Stoicism, at its core, offers a framework for navigating life with wisdom, resilience, and tranquility. It emphasizes focusing on what we can control, our thoughts, actions, and attitudes, and accepting what we cannot. This philosophy, when applied to relationships, provides invaluable insights into creating genuine connection and attracting others without sacrificing our own self-respect and emotional well-being. Imagine for a moment the shift in power dynamics if you weren't the one constantly reaching out, but instead became the person others were drawn to naturally. What if, instead of chasing, you cultivated a life so fulfilling, so authentic, that others couldn't help but notice? This video will delve into that very idea, exploring why chasing often backfires, uncovering the hidden truths of attraction, and revealing how Stoic principles can transform you into someone others are irresistibly drawn to. 1. The futility of the chase. Let's start with a question that many of us have probably asked ourselves at some point. Why does chasing someone so often not work? On the surface, chasing seems like a perfectly logical approach. After all, when you want something or someone, you pursue it, right? You go after it. That's what we are taught to do in almost every facet of our lives, from career goals to material possessions. However, the hidden truth, the uncomfortable reality, is that chasing often pushes people away instead of drawing them closer. Let's break down why. When you chase, you're operating from a place of perceived lack. You're essentially communicating, "I need you to be complete," or "my worth is validated by your attention." This creates an imbalance. The more energy you invest in pursuing someone, the more the other person feels in control, and the more pressure they feel. And one of the biggest motivators for anyone to run is the feeling of being pursued too aggressively. Consider this common scenario. You're texting someone, initiating conversations, perhaps even sending a follow-up message when you don't receive an immediate response. As time passes without a reply, you might become increasingly anxious, tempted to send even more messages to grab their attention. However, such actions can often have the opposite effect. Instead of drawing the person closer, they may feel overwhelmed, suffocated, or simply uninterested. This is where the wisdom of Stoicism becomes invaluable. A foundational principle of Stoicism is to focus on what's within your control and let go of what isn't. When you chase someone, you're attempting to control something or someone that's ultimately beyond your reach. The ancient Stoic philosopher Epictetus reminds us that tranquility begins when we stop concerning ourselves with things that are beyond our control. Chasing someone not only tends to be ineffective, but also infringes upon your own sense of freedom and mental well-being. Think about it. Have you ever found yourself obsessively chasing someone's attention, only to feel even more stressed and disappointed when they don't respond the way you hoped? This is because chasing creates a cycle of dependence. Your happiness becomes contingent upon their actions or reactions. Instead of feeling empowered, you feel drained, and they, in turn, may feel burdened by your neediness. It's not neediness that forges connection. It creates distance. Instead of chasing their attention, focus on attracting it. Attracting isn't about forcing someone to notice you. It's about becoming someone they can't help but notice. This shift begins with a change in mindset. Stop asking yourself, how can I make them like me? And start asking, how can I show up as the best version of myself? When you prioritize your own growth, your own peace, and your own confidence, you naturally become more attractive. That's the secret. Attraction isn't found in pursuit, but in presence. Let's delve deeper into the psychology behind this. People inherently value things that seem rare or unique. When you chase, you make yourself overly available and predictable. But when you focus on yourself, you create an element of mystery. You send the message, I value myself, and I won't chase. And this self-respect is what attracts people. It seems counterintuitive, but it's incredibly powerful. So, how can you apply this to your own life? Next time you feel the urge to chase someone, pause. Instead of immediately texting them or reaching out, take a step back and ask yourself why you feel the need to do so. Is this desire driven by a fear of losing them or by a genuine sense of self-assurance? If it's fear, redirect your energy into activities that boost your confidence, such as working on a personal project, hitting the gym, or spending time with supportive friends. Another powerful tool is embracing the power of silence. When you stop chasing, the other person experiences your absence. And silence, many times, speaks louder than words. It creates a void that draws attention. They might begin to wonder about you and miss your presence. This is when the dynamic begins to shift. Have you ever stopped chasing someone and noticed how their reaction changed? How did it feel to reclaim your energy and focus on yourself? If this resonates with you, type, I choose attraction over pursuit in the comments. The takeaway from this section is clear. Chasing often backfires because it skews the dynamic, creates pressure, undermines your self-worth, and gives others control over your emotions. Make the change. Stop pursuing and start becoming. When you prioritize your growth and self-confidence, you won't need to chase anyone. They'll come to you. 2. Logical attraction versus emotional connection, the real magnet. Now, let's go even deeper into something most people overlook. The distinction between logical attraction and emotional connection. At first glance, these two may seem similar, but they function in entirely different ways. We're about to discuss something crucial, especially when building lasting relationships. One is significantly more powerful than the other. First, let's talk about logical attraction. This is the attraction that's based on external qualities. Someone's physical appearance, their accomplishments, their social status, or even shared interests. Think of it as a checklist approach. They're successful, attractive, and funny. Why wouldn't I be drawn to them? Logical attraction certainly plays a role, but it tends to be fleeting. It's like a spark that initially captures your attention but lacks real depth. Now let's talk about emotional connection. This is where the real magic happens. Emotional connection isn't about what someone has, but how they make you feel. It's that intangible sense of understanding, validation, and resonance that ignites when two people truly connect on an emotional level. When someone understands you, values you, and connects with your emotions, that's when a bond forms. This is what brings depth to relationships. It's not just a spark, but a sustained warmth that keeps the fire burning. The truth is, people may initially notice you because of logical attraction, but people stay because of emotional connection. Why? Because logical attraction appeals to the mind, while emotional connection resonates with the heart. And real relationships are fueled by the heart. Have you ever met someone who seemed perfect on paper, but they just didn't resonate with you? That's because logical attraction alone isn't enough. Without emotional connection, there's no foundation to build anything lasting. On the other hand, you've probably experienced the moment when someone truly gets you. When you feel seen, heard, and appreciated, it's a profoundly emotional connection, and it's priceless. So how does all of this tie into chasing? When you chase someone, you often rely on logical attraction to gain their attention. You try to showcase your best qualities, successes, looks, and wit. But keep in mind, logical attraction alone won't create the connection you desire. In fact, the more you chase, the more you might emotionally distance them. Why? Because chasing disrupts the natural flow of things. When making a connection feels forced, That's where true emotional connection fails. Let's connect this to Stoicism. Marcus Aurelius reminds us, waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one. This wisdom applies perfectly here. Instead of trying to prove your worth through external attributes, focus on cultivating the qualities that foster emotional connection: authenticity, empathy, and presence. Take this example. Imagine you're on a first date and you spend the entire time talking about your accomplishments, trying to impress the other person. Now, consider this other scenario. Instead of showcasing your achievements, you ask them about their passions, listen attentively, and share your genuine opinions. In this case, you're building a bridge of emotional connection rather than just checking off the boxes of logical attraction. So how can you cultivate emotional connection in your own life? First, practice being present. Put your phone away, look people in the eyes, and truly listen. Connection isn't about grand gestures. It's about those small moments where someone feels valued and understood. Next, embrace vulnerability. Share your thoughts, your feelings, and your imperfections. Perfection might draw admiration, but vulnerability fosters connection. When you open yourself up, you create space for others to do the same, fostering deeper bonds based on mutual trust and acceptance. Lastly, show genuine empathy. Put yourself in the other person's shoes and try to understand their perspective. Offer support, encouragement, and understanding, and be a safe space for them to share their thoughts and feelings without judgment. Let me ask you this. When was the last time you truly felt an emotional connection with someone? What was it that made it so special? If this resonates with you, type connection, not attraction in the comments. The essence of this section is this. Logical attraction helps you get someone in the door, but emotional connection keeps them in the room. It's the difference between catching someone's eye and capturing their heart. When you focus on building meaningful emotional connections, you're not just attracting attention. You're building relationships that matter. 3. The 2 phases of attraction: hunting versus chasing. All right, friends, let's dive into a fascinating concept that many people misunderstand. The 2 phases of attraction: hunting versus chasing. While these words might sound similar, the difference between them is vast, lying in mindset and outcomes. Understanding this distinction can completely transform your approach to relationships and attraction. Let's first talk about hunting. Hunting implies approaching the pursuit deliberately and focused. It's about identifying what you value and then pursuing it with clarity and purpose. Think of it as a strategy rooted in self-awareness. When you're in the hunting phase, you're grounded in yourself, understanding your own worth. You aren't seeking validation or approval. Rather, you're striving to achieve something that aligns with your values and goals. Now, compare this to chasing. Chasing is often reactive and, at times, chaotic. It's driven by fear. Fear of losing something, fear of rejection, or fear of being alone. When you chase, you're not operating from a place of clarity or confidence. Instead, you're letting someone else dictate the terms, surrendering your own power in the process. This is where things often go awry. The main difference here is hunting is a proactive process, while chasing is a reactive one. Hunting respects boundaries and acknowledges mutual interest, while chasing often ignores those boundaries and attempts to force a connection. As we discussed earlier, neediness and pressure are the fastest ways to kill attraction. Let's illustrate this with an example. Let's say you're interested in someone. In the hunting phase, you approach them with confidence and curiosity. You initiate a conversation, show genuine interest, and then give them space to respond. If they reciprocate, great. If they don't, you acknowledge it and move on. That's the game, taking action without needing a specific outcome. Now, let's look at the chasing approach. Instead of one thoughtful interaction, you bombard them with messages or repeatedly try to get their attention. You overanalyze their responses, wondering why they aren't responding in the way you hope. This type of behavior is not only exhausting, but it's also unattractive. Chasing often reflects a sense of desperation, and desperation is a major turnoff. Stoicism touches on this deeply. A key teaching of Stoicism is detaching from outcomes. Epictetus stressed on focusing on what you can control your actions, your attitude, your effort, and letting go of what you can't, such as how someone else reacts to you. When you embrace this principle, you naturally operate from a place of hunting rather than chasing. But let's delve a bit deeper. Why do so many people fall into the trap of chasing? The trap of chasing often stems from insecurity or a lack of self-worth. When you don't believe in yourself, you seek external validation. Chasing becomes a way to fill that void, even though it rarely works. The solution lies in turning your focus inward, bolstering your self-esteem, developing your passions, and reminding yourself that you are worthy of love and respect without having to chase after it. A practical way to apply this is to take a step back and ask yourself, am I hunting or chasing? If you're chasing, take a step back. Redirect your energy into something that boosts your confidence, whether it's a hobby, spending time with supportive friends, or simply taking a moment to reflect on your values. When you stop chasing, you give others the opportunity to come to you on their own terms, and that's where genuine connection begins. In this phase of hunting, it's important to be patient. Attraction isn't a race, it's a journey. When you allow things to unfold naturally, you not only respect the other person's boundaries, but also demonstrate your own emotional maturity. What could be more attractive than someone who knows their value and doesn't force things? Let me ask you a question. Have you ever felt the difference between hunting and chasing in your relationships? How to change the dynamic? The essence of this section, attraction has two sides, hunting and chasing, and they are very different. Hunting is clarity, confidence, and mutual interest, while chasing is desperation, insecurity, and disrespect. 4. Creating emotional craving, leaving a lasting impression. Now, let's talk about creating emotional craving. This isn't about manipulation or playing games. It's about sparking a deep sense of connection and curiosity that leaves a lasting impression. Emotional craving isn't just about attracting attention. It's about making someone think of you long after you've left the room. It's what makes you memorable, desirable, and truly captivating. Emotional craving is the secret sauce, what makes you unforgettable. Logical attraction might grab someone's attention initially, but emotional craving is what keeps them intrigued. It's what makes them think about you even when you're not around. Best of all, emotional craving isn't about trickery or deception. It's about creating authentic and meaningful connections. So, how do you create this emotional craving? Step by step. To begin with, emotional craving starts with curiosity. People are naturally drawn to things they don't fully understand. When you reveal your thoughts, feelings, or intentions too quickly, you lose that element of mystery. But when you slowly reveal bits and pieces of yourself over time, you give people something to look forward to. Remember, it's not about playing games. It's about creating a journey, layer by layer. Think of it like reading a great book. Would it be as engaging if all the twists and turns were revealed in the first chapter? Of course not. The same principle applies to emotional craving. To create it, you need to develop it gradually, sharing just enough to pique their interest and leave them wanting to know more. Share just enough to show your depth, but not so much that the mystery is gone. Now, let's talk about emotional craving built on shared experiences. Think about the most meaningful connections in your life. Chances are they weren't built on grand gestures, but on small, shared moments. A meaningful conversation, a shared laugh, or a moment of vulnerability. These moments create emotional craving because they make the other person feel seen, understood, and valued. The trick is to not only create shared experiences, but also to make those experiences emotionally resonant. To do this, be fully present when you're with someone. Put your phone away, listen attentively, and respond thoughtfully. These simple actions show that you value the moment, and they'll value it in return. Finally, play with the power of the unexpected. Emotional craving often thrives on anticipation. If your interactions always follow the same predictable pattern, like always texting the same way, the excitement fades. The key is to introduce an element of surprise, leaving them wondering what's coming next. This doesn't mean being inconsistent. It means keeping things fresh and exciting. Another step to build emotional connection is prioritizing self-worth. People are naturally drawn to those who have a strong sense of self-determination. When you set boundaries, prioritize your own growth, and exhibit confidence, you send a powerful message. I am someone worth valuing and investing in. Connecting this back to Stoicism, Marcus Aurelius said that you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. This reminds us that creating emotional craving starts from within. It's not about controlling someone else's emotions. It's about cultivating a mindset of strength, presence, and authenticity that naturally draws people in. Here's a practical tip to get you started. Begin creating meaningful things one step at a time. Instead of surface-level chat, lead with conversations that invite deeper discussions. Ask them about their passions, their dreams, and their fears. When you show genuine interest, you're not just connecting, you're creating moments they'll remember. Following that, share moments of joy together, whether it's sharing a laugh or participating in a shared activity. These are the experiences that strengthen the connection. Finally, never underestimate the power of absence. Giving someone the space to miss you is an incredibly effective way to create emotional craving. Missing means creating balance. When you are there, be fully present, but when you are not, they are left to consider what your presence means to their lives. What's one unique moment you've shared with someone that deepened your connection? If it resonates with you, share your energy in the comments. The main idea of this section is that feeling something in others is not about grand gestures, but about creating many meaningful and real moments that strengthen the connection over time. 5. The art of giving space. Absence makes the heart grow fonder. Now let's talk about the art of giving space. When you care about someone, your natural inclination is to be close to them, to reassure them of your presence. However, the truth is that sometimes the most impactful thing you can do is to step back and let them experience your absence. Let's start by understanding what giving space really means. The true essence of any relationship lies in balance. If you get too close, it can be suffocating. On the other hand, being too distant can damage the connection. When you give someone space, you allow them to consider the value you hold in their life. You let them experience the value of your presence when they face the reality of your absence for a while. That's how you create an opportunity for someone to miss you and create a level of longing, not by forcing it, but rather by the opposite. Think of it. Have you ever had a friend or partner who was always around? While it may have been comforting initially, over time, it can start to feel a bit stifling. On the other hand, when someone gives you the freedom to breathe, you start to appreciate the moments you share. Giving space isn't a game. It's about respecting boundaries and fostering a healthy relationship. The great Stoic philosopher Epictetus once said, "Know first who you are, and then adorn yourself accordingly." That is, people need the space to see your true value. If you're always around, they may not fully appreciate what you bring to the table. You take the notion that your attention is always going to be there, but when you get slightly distant, you give them the chance to think that you are not going to be, and therefore, to realize the special energy you bring to their lives. Let's talk about how to give space the right way. The key here is intention. Giving space isn't about being mean or ignoring someone. It's about creating balance. First, understand the dynamics of your relationship. Are you always the one initiating contact? Always the one making plans? If so, take a step back and let them initiate. This small shift can make a big difference. Here's another example. If you've been constantly texting someone and the conversation feels a bit one-sided, take a pause and allow them to reach out first. This change is fun to witness. They will notice this change and think of what had happened. Giving space is not only about conversation. It's about taking a moment to value yourself and taking value away from an external relationship. When you focus too much on someone else, you can inadvertently neglect your own needs and growth. When you step back, you're not just giving them space, you're giving yourself space too. Use this time to invest in yourself, pursue your hobbies, strengthen your friendships, and nurture your own happiness. By investing in yourself, you're getting closer to attracting the right person to you. When you do this, you're not only creating longing within the other person, but also becoming more attractive by valuing and pursuing your own personal growth. Connecting this back to emotional connection, giving space isn't about creating distance. When you create a bit of distance, you give the other person an opportunity to reflect on the moments you've shared and the connection you've built. That time to think and reflect on your time together can significantly strengthen your relationship. Let's address a common fear. What if I give them space and they forget about me? The answer lies in the quality of your connection. If your foundation is strong, giving space will enhance the relationship. If it's not, maintaining constant closeness won't make a difference. Trust that space isn't the enemy. It's a tool. Next time you feel the urge to reach out to someone, pause and redirect your energy elsewhere. Go for a walk, read a book, or call a friend. By focusing on yourself, you're not only respecting their space, but also reinforcing your own independence. That independence is very attractive in the relationship. When you practice giving space, what happened? Was there positive changes? The heart grows fonder in absence. If this is you, share less contact, more value in the comments. The essence of this section, space doesn't mean distancing, but instead, taking space gives others the chance to think and reflect about your time together, creating greater value for yourself and therefore more connection with the other person. 6. Maintaining high energy, fueling the flame of connection. Let's talk about how to foster emotional connection. Here we will talk about fostering an emotional state through raising energy that serves as the foundation of any fulfilling relationship. Consider the times you have had dull interactions in which the energy doesn't click compared to those times when the vibes are right and the magic of the setting flourishes. So what's the secret to creating and nurturing this magic? First, we need to understand what it means to maintain high energy. It's not about being overly active or over the top. It's about bringing positivity, enthusiasm, and joy to the interaction. When you're genuinely engaged in a conversation and fully present in the moment, your energy becomes contagious. Energy goes both ways. What you bring to the setting tends to set the expectations for the conversation and affect how the other person will respond. How does this connect with emotional connection? When you listen, answer with thought, and present as a person who is fully interested, you create a setting in which the other person feel worth and understood. Will you make the other person think about you through your energy that will build an emotional relationship that can't be rebuilt easily? Talking a bit more about Stoicism, Marcus Aurelius wrote that you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. In the setting of emotional connection, it indicates that the energy you bring is something that is under your control. Some actions that you can do in order to create connection. Practice active listening, in which you not only take into consideration what other person is saying, but also put yourself in their position in order to fully understand it and give a response that shows full understanding and awareness. Share a story about you that may have deep feelings. When the other person is fully listened to, that creates a deep bondage that's impossible to rebuild. Share your enthusiasms. Being enthusiastic is what sets the energy in the atmosphere. When you're fascinated in doing or talking about something, people are drawn to it. It doesn't have to be a deep conversation. Sometimes a normal conversation, when said with true feelings and excitement, can create deeper connections. It could be about a book you've recently read or a new habit you've adopted or changed. 7. The challenge they can't resist, becoming irresistible. Let's delve into this a little deeper. This isn't about playing hard to get or manipulating anyone. It's about cultivating a sense of self-worth, independence, and mystery that naturally draws people to you. When you master this, you stop chasing and start attracting effortlessly. In the core of making a challenge that can't be rejected is all about respect and boundaries. In order to create such energy, you must be conscious of your own self-awareness in order to know your value and where your limit is set. When you make yourself always available or willing to give into any challenge, you diminish your own value and potential. This is the mindset, the way we present our intentions to others. Challenges aren't about becoming stubborn, but about having respect for your own standards. A good intention behind setting boundaries can create attraction in ways we don't imagine. An important factor is that creating a challenge involves creating interest. Whenever you take an honest and self-aware position in something, people will get the impression that there are certain characteristics that drive you. There are things you don't give up easily, creating the atmosphere that gets people closer. To connect this back with Stoicism, as Marcus Aurelius said, tolerant with others and strict with yourself. It can be interpreted here as setting high standards for yourself to ensure that you get those standards in order to live happily, not forcing those values in people's lives. Let's exemplify this more. Suppose that someone asks you to do something that goes against your values. You're going to say no to it in a way that you don't sound rude, but you don't make yourself do something you're not comfortable with. Creating a challenge can come with attraction when you create an atmosphere of discovery. It's not about creating games or holding back care. It has to be a mindful action in which you make decisions in how you use your energy and time. So, as we bring this exploration to a close, let's take a moment to recap the key takeaways. Remember, attraction isn't about chasing, manipulating, or sacrificing your self-worth. It's about embodying authenticity, cultivating emotional connections, and maintaining a sense of inner strength and independence. The transformative journey involves recognizing the futility of chasing, understanding the power of emotional connection over superficial attraction, and embracing the principles of Stoicism as a guide for navigating relationships with wisdom and resilience. It's about becoming someone others are drawn to, not because of what you do for them, but because of who you are. That sense of who you are can be summarized in focusing on value within yourselves instead of searching it in others, setting boundaries on relationships to respect yourself and be more honest with others, setting goals that challenge you to be a better version of yourself, and, finally, taking time to think and create your personality. Finally, take it to heart. These principles applied consistently can transform not only your relationships, but also your overall well-being. You'll find yourself more confident, more content, and more capable of attracting the kind of meaningful connections you deserve. If you found this video insightful, don't forget to subscribe and become part of our community. Here at Stoic Relationships, we'll continue to delve into the timeless wisdom of Stoicism to help you navigate life with clarity and strength. Until next time, remember, stay grounded, stay growing, and keep striving to become the best version of yourself. See you in the next video.